Today we discuss on a topic simple interest. Now we see the examples here. Now we see the examples. A certain sum of money becomes 3 times of itself in 20 years at a simple interest. In how many years does it becomes double of itself at the same rate of simple interest? A certain sum of money becomes 3 times of itself in 20 years at a simple interest. In how many years does it becomes double of itself at the same rate of simple interest? Here we write years and three times. Here simple interest becomes 3 times in 20 years. Here 20 years become 3 times. Simple interest become 3 times in 20 years. Now here in how many years does it become double itself? In how many years? Here only we subtract 1 from times. Here is 2, here is 1. Now here we take cross multiplication, then we get the answer. Then years 22x1. We get cross multiplication, 20 into 1 is equal to x into 2. Here 2 is multiple, here becomes divide. Then x is equal to 10. Then in 10 years it become a doubles. In 10 years it becomes a double of itself at the same rate of simple interest. Here only 1 subtracted from times, means 3 times. 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. Now next, a certain sum of money becomes 7 times of itself in 24 years. 7 times of itself in 24 years at simple interest. In how many years does it become? 3 times of itself. 3 times of itself at the same rate of simple interest. Here years and times. Here your money becomes 7 times in 24 years. Your money becomes 7 times in 24 years at a simple interest. In how many years it becomes 3 times? In how many years it becomes 3 times? Only one subtracted from this. Here 6, here 2. We take cross multiplication of these two. Then 24 into 2 is equal to 6 into x. Then here 24 into 2 divided by 6 is equal to x. And your answer is 8. Then 8 becomes 3 times in a 8 year. Your answer is 8. Then it becomes 3 times in a 8 year. Then your answer is 8 year. Now next, a certain sum of money becomes 7 times of itself in 24 years at a simple interest. In 8 years, it becomes how many times? In 8 years, it becomes how many times of itself in at the same rate of simple interest. In at the same rate of simple interest. Here same we write same years and times. Here your in 24 years, it becomes 7 times. In 24 years, it becomes 7 times. In 8 years, it becomes how many times? Here we take x. In 8 years, it becomes how many times? We subtract 1 from these two. Here 6, here x minus 1. We will take cross multiplication. Here we write 24, 6, 8, x minus 1. We take cross multiplication of these two. We take cross multiplication. Then we get value of x. X means your answer is x. Your answer is x. It becomes x times in 8 years. We find value of x. Now here by solving these two. Then 24 into x minus 1, 24 into x minus 1 is equal to 8 into 6. 24 into x minus 1 is equal to 8 into 8 into 6. Here 24x minus 24 is equal to 8 6 the 48. Now here 24 is minus. Here come plus. Here 24x is equal to 72. 24x is equal to 72. 8 6 are 48. Here 24 minus here plus. Now here x is equal to 72 divided by 24. Then your principal becomes 3 times, or it becomes 3 times in a 8 year. 7 times in a 24 year, it becomes 3 times in a 8 year. Your answer is 3 times. Your answer is 3 times. Now next. A certain sum of money becomes 9 times of itself in 32 years. A certain sum of money becomes 9 times of itself in 32 years at a simple interest. In 8 years, it becomes how many times? In 8 years, it becomes how many times of itself in at same rate of simple interest. Same rate of simple interest. Here years and times. Here becomes 9 times in a 32 years. 9 times in a 32 years. 9 times in a 32 years. In a 8 years, it becomes how many times? Here x times. How many times here? It becomes x times. Here we write 9. Here we write 9 minus 1 and x minus 1. Compulsory we subtract 1 from times. Now here remains is 32, 8, 8, x. 32, 8, 8 and x minus 1. Here x minus 1. We take cross multiplication of these two. We will get an answer. We take cross multiplication of these two, we get an answer. Then 32 into x minus 1, 32 into x minus 1 is equal to 8 into 8. 32 into x minus 1 is equal to 8 into 8. Now here 32x minus 32 is equal to 64. 32x minus 32 is equal to 64. Here 32 is minus, here comes plus. 64 plus 32. Now here 32x is equal to 96. Now here find value of x. X is equal to 96 divided by 32. Then value of x is equal to 3. Then you are in 8 year it becomes 3 times of itself. In 8 year it becomes 3 times of itself. This is your answer. In 8 year it becomes 3 times of itself. Now next, a sum of money doubles in a 16 years. A sum of money doubles in a 16 years. Then how many times will it becomes in 8 years? In how many times it will it becomes in a 8 years? Now a sum of money doubles in a 16 years. Here years and times. Now here in a 16 year it becomes doubles. Then in how many times will it becomes in a 8 year? In a 8 year it becomes x times. We compulsory subtract 1 from times. Now here 1, here x minus 1. Now here we write 16 8 1 and x minus 1. We take cross multiplication of these two. We get value of x. We take cross multiplication of these two. We get value of x. Now here 16 into x minus 1 is equal to 1 into 8. Then 16x minus 16 is equal to 8. 16x minus 16 is equal to 8. Then 16x is equal to 8 plus 16. That is 16x is equal to 32. We find the value of x. Then x is equal to 32 divided by 16. Sorry, 24. Here 24. Here 24. Then 8 2 the 8 3 the. Then x is equal to 3 by 2. That is 1 by 2. Then it becomes 1.5 times of itself. It becomes 3 by 2 times or 1.5 times of itself. 1.5 times of itself. This is your answer. We compulsory subtract 1 from times and write here this type, and we get cross multiplication. Then your answer will be comes. Now next. A sum invested in scheme B is thrice the sum invested in scheme A. Sum invested in scheme B is thrice sum invested in scheme A. The investment in scheme A is made for 4 years at 8% per annum at simple interest, and in scheme B for 2 years at 13% per annum simple interest. The total interest earned from both the scheme, is 1,320. How much amount was invested in scheme A? How much amount was invested in scheme A? Here there are two schemes, scheme A and scheme B. Here there are two schemes. B. Here sum invested scheme B is thrice the sum invested in A. Here A's investment or A's principal A's principal is X and B's principal, scheme B's principal is 3 times of A, that is 3x. This is your principal. The investment in scheme A made for 4 years. Here 4 years time at a rate of 8% per annum. Here rate is 8%. And here B invested for 2 years and your rate is 13%. Then total interest earned from both scheme. Is 1322. Then we write here, we find simple interest from this condition and simple interest from this condition, and addition of these two is 1320 rupees. Now here we write A's investment is X. Here A's investment is X for 4 years at 8% divided by 100 plus B's investment is 3 times A's investment, 3x. Then B for 2 years and interest rate is 30%. We take the addition of these two interests. Now addition of these two interests is 1320. Now here we take addition. Here 32x divided by 100 plus here we take multiplication of these two. 78x divided by 100 is equal to 1320. Now here we take addition of these two. Now here we take addition of these two is 32 plus 78x divided by 100 is equal to 1320. Now here solving these two, 110x divided by 100, 110x divided by 100 is equal to 1320. Now we solve these two. We find value of x, then x is equal to 1320 into 100 divided by 0 get cancelled, 11 1 11 remaining is 2, 11 2. Then x is equal to 1200. This is the value of x. X is equal to 1200. Then your how much amount invested in scheme A? Scheme A is equal to x, that is value of x is equal to 1200. Now here amount invested in scheme A is 1200. Now next, if the simple interest for 6 years be equal to 30% of principal, it will be equal to the principal after. It will be equal to principal after. Here, if the simple interest for 6 years be equal to 30% of principal, 30% of principal. Here your principal is X or your principal. 30% simple interest SI is equal to 30% of principal. 30% of principal means 30 divided by 100. Then your SI is upon P. Here P is multiple. Here becomes divide. Then SI upon P is equal to 30 divided by 100. Then your simple interest is 30 and principal is 100. Your SI simple interest is 30. Your principal is 100. Your principal is 100. Now here we find the rate of interest. Here we find the rate of interest. Now here time duration. Time duration. Your value of T is equal to 6 years. Value of T is equal to 6 years. Now here we find then SI is equal to P RT divided by 100. SI is equal to P into R into T. P RT divided by 100. Your simple interest is 30. Your principal is 100. We find the rate of interest. Your time duration is 6 years divided by 100. Your time duration is 6 years divided by 100. 100 get cancelled. We find the value of R. 30 divided by 6 is equal to 5. This is your interest rate. This is your interest rate. Then your interest rate is 5. Your interest rate is 5. Here interest rate of percent is 5%. Here. Now here we find firstly rate of interest. Rate of interest is 5%. Now here rate of interest, your rate of interest is 5%. Now here we find it will equal to principal after how many years? It will be equal to principal. Your principal is 100. Then your SI will be 100 after how many years? SI will be simple interest will be 100. In how many years? Then rate of interest is same. Rate of interest is 5%. Now here we find the time duration. You find the time duration. Now we solve this. We find the time duration. Then SI is equal to PRT. SI is equal to P into R into T. PRT divided by 100. Then your simple interest is 100. Your principal is also 100. Your rate of interest is 5. We find the time duration divided by 100. Your 100 gets cancelled. Then 100 divided by 5. 100 divided by 5 is equal to time duration is equal to T. 100 divided by 5 means 20. Your time duration is 20 years. After 20 years, it will equal to principal. After 20 years, it will be equal to principal. This is your answer. Now next. A sum for 4,000 lent out in two parts. One at 8% simple interest and the other at 10% simple interest. One at 8% simple interest and other at a 10% simple interest. If the annual interest is 352, the sum lent at 8% is. Sum lent at 8% is. Now here there are two sums. One is 8% at simple interest rate and other at 10% at simple interest rate. Now here total interest is 352. Here first sum here there are two parts. Part 1 is equal to x. Here x part sum of part 1 is x. Then part 2 is 4,000 minus x. 4,000 minus x. Now here simple interest on these two sum is 352. Now here one is simple interest 8%. Here interest rate is 8%. Here interest rate is 10%. Lent out two parts. Simple interest, other interest. The annual interest is time duration is 1 year. Time duration is same 1 year. 1 year. Now we addition of these two interest is 352. We write x principal into rate into time divided by 100 plus second amount is 4000 minus x. Sorry, second principal is 4000 minus x into 10 into 1 divided by 100 is equal to 352. 352. We solve this equation, we get answer. We solve this equation, we get answer. X into 8 into 100, x 100 plus 4000 minus x into 10 divided by 100 is equal to 352. We solve this 352. Now here 8x plus here 100 19 here 8 plus 40,000 minus 10x divided by 100 is equal to 352. Now here 100 here becomes multiple. 8x minus 10x minus 2x plus 40,000 is equal to 35200. Now here 2x come here. 40,000 minus 35,200 is equal to 2x. We get subtraction of these two. 36. Now value of x is equal to your value of x is equal to 1400. Your value of x is equal to 1400. By solving these two, minus twice x, 8x minus 10x minus twice x plus 14,000 is equal to 35,200. Now here subtraction these two 2x here come. Here your value of x is equal to. Now here lent at 8%. Here 8%. Your value at 8% is 1400. 1400. Sorry, 2400. Your value of x is equal to 2400. 4,800 divided by 2 is 2400. 2400. Now your answer is 2400. Now next. A sum 200 lent out in two parts. One at 5% simple interest and other is 4% simple interest. If the annual interest is 92, then sum lent at 5% is. Here there are two parts. Part 1 is x, then part 2 of sum is equal to 2000 minus x. There are two sums. Here one is 5% simple interest. One is 5% simple interest. Second is 4% simple interest. If the annual interest is, then time duration is 1 year. Time duration is 1 year. Here time duration is 1 year. Now here these two interest, sum of these two interest is 92. We write here x into 5 into 1 divided by 100 plus 200 minus x, 200 minus x into 4 into 1 divided by 100 is equal to 92. By solving this equation we get these two parts. Here we write 5x divided by 100 plus 200 minus x into 200 minus x into 4 divided by 100, 4 divided by 100 is equal to 92. Now here we write here 100 minus plus 8000 minus 4x is equal to 92. Now here we write 4x minus x, x plus 8000 is equal to 9200. Here x is equal to 9200 minus 800. Here value of x is equal to 1200. This is the value of x. Now here, if the annual interest rate sum length at 5%, sum length at 5%, that is x. Value of x is equal to 1200. 1200. Then your answer is 1200. Now next. A person invested a total sum 7,900 in three different schemes. Of a simple interest. Of a simple interest at 3%, 5% and 8% per annum. 3%, 5% and 8% per annum. At the end of 1 year, he got same interest in all three schemes. At the end of year, he got same interest in all three schemes. What is the money invested at 3%? What is the money investment at 3%? Here there are three parts. Parts 3. Here part 1 is X, part 2 is Y, and part 3 is Z. Now here 3% of first investment. 3% of first investment. Here we write 3%. Here interest rate is 3%. Here 5%. Here 8%. And time duration is 1 year. Now here we write these three interest are same. Then we write x into 3 into 1 divided by 100 is equal to x, y is equal to y into 5 into 1 divided by 100 is equal to z into 8 into 1 z. Here z into 8 divided by 100. Here 100 get cancelled. Then here 3x is equal to 5y is equal to 8z. 3x is equal to 5y is equal to xz. Then we find xy value of xyz. Here we find value of xyz. Then x as to y is equal to 5 by 3. X as to y. Here y comes here, 3 goes here, 5 by 3. X upon y is equal to 5 as to 3. Y upon z. Y as to z. Y as to z is equal to 8 upon 5 or 8 as to 5. We find x, y, z. Here we find x, y, z. Here we find x, y, z. Then here x as to y, x, y, z. Then x as to y is 5 as to 3, 5 as to 3. Y as to z is equal to y as to z is equal to 8 as to 5. Then 3 here, 8 here. Now here write 15. Now here total your sum is 7,900. Total sum is 7,900. Then total sum is 7,900 divided by total addition of these two. This is sum. Ratio of sum. Ratio of sum. X as to y as to z. Then we add this 79 into we find the money invested at 3%. Money invested at 3% means we find only x. Money invested at 3% means we find x. Then x is equal to 40. 9 here 100 into 40. 100 into 40. Then your value is 4,000. Then money investment by x. Money investment by x is 4,000 rupees. Your answer is 4,000 rupees.